Creativity is my divine nature. Boy, take that in. If you want to, turn to somebody near you and affirm that for them. It's the truth for them. Okay, I've got a riddle for you, and I'm going to need some help with this. You ready? What? All right. Okay, here we go. I'm sure this is going to be new. Ha, that's a sarcastic remark. Okay. There were two men who went fishing. Their names were Pete and Repeat. Well, Repeat caught a fish. That fish was so big that it pulled him out of the boat. So who was... Oops. Pay no attention to that. All right, we start over. All right. Pete and Repeat were sitting in the boat. Pete caught a fish, and it was so heavy that it pulled him in the water. So who was left in the boat? Repeat. Oh, there were two men in a boat. You know how it goes, right? All right. Does your life feel like that sometimes?
Yes.
Repeat. Feels like I'm trying to do something different here. I'm trying to get somewhere. I'm trying to improve the quality of my life or experience it as more joyful or experience a world as more joyful. But sometimes I feel like I'm stuck in the repeat riddle, right? I feel like I just can't get out of it. And so the good news is that really we are always getting out of it, even when, even in that goofy joke, even that, what happens when you tell it over and over? What happens to you? You learn something, right? You learn to tell the person that's telling it to shut up. You learn something. So no matter whatever it is that we're going through, no matter how repetitive it feels, and it may be on many levels, it may be repetitive. It may be in many levels, in many ways that you are stuck in that pattern. And at the same time, because we are innately creative, because we are innately spiritual, also at the same time, what is happening is that we are learning. Because spiritually, we are always interested in the upward progressive movement in life. That's what it means to be spiritual. So all of a sudden, I'm driving around and I'm noticing that the GPS on my phone is not working. She is not talking to me. And I'm like, where did you go? Where did you go? So I look and I see that it's not, hooking into the big network there, the big data network. I just noticed that the little icon on the phone it's not hooking in. So I'm like, what am I going to do? I don't know what to do. So I called up Sprint and I said, I'm sure the cell towers are down. She's like, well, no, they're not. I'm like, I know they are. I was sure this is what's going on. And she's very polite. But anyway, so then she tells me this stuff to do, to punch all these numbers in, to change, I don't know, supposed to reset something or whatever. So I do this all. Anyway, so it didn't work. Nothing happened. I was distraught. So I'm like, she's not talking to me. What am I going to do? So then I think, okay, so then the next day, well, I guess anyway, Monday I said, all right, I'm going to take it to the Sprint store. So I take it to the Sprint store, and this nice young man, he's looking at it, and he's playing with it, and he's like, I don't know. He says, I don't know what it could be. He says, how old is this phone? I said, it's really new. It's like less than a year old. It's an iPhone 8. I had to buy a new phone because my other phone pooped out. And he's like, well, I don't know. He says, I don't know. He punched in the numbers to do the same thing she'd already told me. And of course it didn't work. And he said, well, you're just going to have to take it down to the South Park Meadows, and they're going to have to take this thing apart. Do you have insurance on it? I'm like, oh, no. And I thought, I really do know how to get to South Park Meadows, but I thought, how am I going to get to South Park Meadows if she won't tell me how to get there? I really do know how to get there. So, but then because he's not afraid of that phone like I am, he's not afraid of technology, he's still playing with it, and he's doing this and that and the other. He goes, oh, look at this, you turned your data thing off. I'm like, what? He said, look, and he, punches the thing in the data, whatever, I turned off the data thing. Somebody did. I don't know who did it. And I laughed, and I'm like, I don't know how that happened. I don't know how that happened. I did not touch that. I don't know how that happened. Anyway, but I was really happy, and I thanked him profusely for this. So the takeaway for me is ask for help. You know, when I don't know what's going on, ask for help from somebody that does. You know, reach out. That's the takeaway for me. Don't say there's no hope. And, you know, I can go into all these scenarios about the phone and all this, how much money this is going to cost me, and I can just go off on all these trips. That's not necessary. You know, it's the same thing for us. Whatever it is that's happening in our lives, instead of going all off on all these things about how we're doomed, you know, oh, this is the end. It just narrows everything down, right? And you know, when you're like this, how creative are you? Not very, right? Not very. So the opportunity is, in whatever way you can, is to reach out for help, to pray, to say, okay, God, I know you have a solution for this. And I did. I had prayed about it. I said, God, I don't know what it is, but I know you have a solution. I know there's a divine solution. But I have to be willing to take the steps, right? I can't just sit around in my little tank and think it's going to, you know, land on my head. I have to be willing to reach out. That's the opportunity. Reach in to spiritual guidance, and then reach out into the avenues that make sense. And a lot of times it's just plain old common sense, like that sort of thing. You know, it's not a lot of times all that complicated. But to do that, I have to let go of my, I'm going to just do it myself thing, you know. I have to get off that because it doesn't work. I mean, I have to be responsible for myself, but it doesn't work for me to just sit around and get upset and not reach out for help.